Hey friends, welcome back to another video. My name's Emma Lefebvre, and today we're going to be doing a beautiful poppy painting. So let's jump in and get started. Okay friends, so today I wanted to paint a poppy kind of scenery. I did one years ago and I kind of just wanted to improve it a little bit. It's been a long time since I've done it, so I thought I would do it again today in honor of Remembrance Day. So I'm painting on my Academy watercolor block. I just have half taped off because I don't want to do the whole thing. And then I have my Shinhan watercolors. I have a wash brush for the background, and then my size 10 round for more detailed stuff, water, paper towel, and we're ready to go. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is a background. Now, because I'm going to be layering poppies on top, I don't want my background to be a color that will interfere with the red of the poppy. So I actually want it to be an analogous color palette-ish, where that if we layer red over top, it's not going to mute it in any way or affect the color of the poppy. So I thought yellow. So we're going to do a nice yellowy orange kind of background where it looks like there's some sort of sun behind, and then have some greenery at the bottom. So the first thing I'm going to do is wet up my whole paper like so. It's just easier to apply color, I find, and it stays wet longer if you apply water first, and it blends a lot nicer. So I'm just taking my wash brush and applying clean water over the whole thing like so. Then I'm going to take my yellow, and the poppies are going to be right in the middle, so I want it to be lightest in the middle. I don't want too much color because I don't want it to affect it, but I want the lightest color in the middle, which is going to be yellow. And then as we move further out towards the edges, you can add greens, maybe even a little bit of like grayish blue if you want to have that part of your sky, but mostly yellow behind where those poppies are going to be going. And I don't want, like, this is actually quite intense yellow. I don't want it to be too intense, so I'm just going to try and spread it out so it's a little bit lighter. Even add a little bit of yellow ochre. Okay, and it's just going to be a very blurred out background. Actually, I'm wondering if I should do kind of a blurred out poppy. Do some wet on wet. Let's give it a try, shall we? I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do some poppies that are in the background on the wet paper, so it can be like they're faded out in the background, if I'm making any sense at all. Okay, so I have a little bit more yellow ochre towards the edges. And you can make it kind of, doesn't have to be a nice smooth gradient or anything. It can have a little bit of texture to the background if you like. Just going to add yellow down here, and then I'm going to add some green. Okay, I'm going to add a little bit of my olive green down here while it's still wet, just to get a little bit of that greenery from the field. You can have like little grass marks, and because it's wet, it's going to be out of focus. If you want to do a little bit of a darker green, you know, you can add a little bit of blue to it. Okay. A little bit around the edges. Okay. Even up here. Why not? Okay. Then, while it's still wet, I'm going to take my size 10 brush, and just with a light wash of a bit of red, not too intense, I'm just going to do just like this blurred out poppy kind of in the background. Like just like a circular shape, but not so defined that you can tell exactly what the flower looks like. I just want it to be like there's a unfocused poppy in the background. Okay, I'm not focusing too much on it. But see how if you layer red over top of the yellow, it doesn't affect the color of the poppy too much. If we had a blue background, the poppy would come out kind of like a purpley undertone or even like a grayish. I'm gonna add a little bit more color, just a tad bit, just so there are some dark areas, but not too defined. And then I'm going to take a little bit of my green, even a little bit of darker green, and just really just tapping it on my paper towel so I don't have too much color. Just going to do a stem. And if you want to do more stems and blades of grass, you could always do that too. Okay, so now we're gonna let it completely dry. If your poppy on the wet on wet is kind of, you know, spreading out a bit too much, if you don't like that look, dry off your brush completely and just gently kind of touch the edges to manipulate that shape the way you want it. But yeah, anyway, leave it to completely dry. Okay, so now that that's dry, we can do our more defined poppies in the foreground. So I'm going to start off right here in the center, have my biggest one, and then maybe two to the side. And I'm going to start by creating this reddish orange color. So just a little bit of yellow, just so it's a little bit on the lighter side. And I want to imagine like a center here. Just give yourself a little guideline for a center. And then I'm going to create these kind of jagged petals coming off of the center. Even using a flat brush is a great idea for this. Actually, let me show you. Okay, just a flat wash brush, because its petals are kind of jagged and fat. Okay, and it's actually really useful to use this brush. Okay, and I'm not going too dark because we're actually going to layer another set of petals over top. Okay. Like that, like that. Then I'm going to do another one over here, just like a side view. A little bit of yellow in there. Pretend that the bottom is like this, like right here, and you're just going to do this kind of shape. It's like a bowl shape. Okay, like that. You can even have like another petal kind of coming down if you want. Okay, and then I might do another one just a little bit lighter over here. Another side view. Maybe it's just blooming, so it's not as big. So imagine that bottom where the stem kind of comes out. Actually, that should be here too. Like so. Okay. And then you're going to let those complete. Okay, when those are dry, we can do another layer. This one I went a little bit too dark, so I'm just going to grab a light wash, and I'm going to have a little bit of a transparent petal kind of behind. Like that, and I'm going to leave maybe over here too. I'm going to leave that one like that. But this one I want to be darker, so I'm going to go right into my red. And right in between where those petals meet, I'm going to do some darker petals, like so. I'm just creating these really jagged petal shapes. Like that. And then this one, I'm going to have just another petal kind of over here, and then maybe a little one here, like that. And then this one can have a little bit more of one right there. Okay. And then you're going to let those completely dry. But while you're doing that, now that we kind of have the shape of our petals, we can grab our green for our stem, and you can actually do your stem. So imagine it kind of coming down behind, just a little flat part here. It's going to imagine it kind of coming down like that. This one, like that. Like so. And then you can also do some of the ones that haven't really bloomed yet. So I'm going to do a stem, and then I'm just going to have it kind of fall down here, and then just do this like oval shape. Like that. I'm going to grab a little bit of darker green and just kind of tap it in there. Like that. You can do another one. While we're waiting for those to dry. And then if you want to, you can do some of the really jagged leaves. So I'm just doing like a line and then little points kind of coming back to that center. Up to you though, if you want to do that. I need a little bit of darker green too, just for a little bit of depth on some of the leaves. You can have little blades of grass if you want. And I might just wash off my brush and dry it and just kind of blend out the bottom here. So it's a little fuzzy. Like so. Okay, and then if our poppies are dry, which they are, I'm actually going to do a little bit of this green with a little bit of yellow in the center here, just like a little circle, and we'll come back to that. Okay, but now I'm going to create a darker red. So my red, and I'm going to take a dark green, and I'm going to mix it to get this darker red. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to come down any little, see how there's like little divots in the edges of the petals? I'm going to bring down a line. Actually, I might even grab a smaller brush. You can do lines kind of coming up the petals, but also from those divots. These little, actually that's almost a little too dark. I don't want it that dark. I'm going to blend it out a bit to get a little bit of texture within the petals. And then even the ones behind too. Might even get a little bit more darkness right at the base, especially this open one. Like that, and it just creates this really nice crinkled kind of petal look, which poppies have. And then these ones that are kind of coming down from the sides, you're going to have it from the bottom and then those little divots from the top. a little bit of an orangey one for those lighter petals. You can just have a little bit of yellow in there too, just for a bit of brightness. Like so. And then you can create the centers once those are dry. Actually, I'm going to do a little bit more darkness on some of these parts just to give it a little bit of extra texture. The stems also have these little kind of like fuzzy edges if you want to do like the little hairs kind of coming off the stem. So I just took a little bit of like a yellowy green and I'm just doing tiny little lines to create those fuzzy stems that poppies have, and really light pressure with my brush. Like that. Part of me kind of wishes that I did like some flicking of the water in the background to get some little, you know, just little sparkles in there. I'm wondering if I can't remember if this lifts well. I want to try something. Does this paper lift well? I want little, like a bokeh effect. I'm just taking clean water and then scrubbing it in a circle, then lifting. I don't want that bokeh effect, like the sunlight has sparkled in the background. Now, another fun way to create that look, when you do the background originally and it's all still wet and you've applied the yellow, take some clean water and just like tap it, and then it will disperse, kind of, it repels the color of the background and it looks really, really beautiful. I'm actually going to take, because I wish it had a bit more of like a sparkle effect to it. So I'm going to, yeah, just take some yellow and tap it. Maybe a little bit of green down here, just for fun. And then once everything is dry, I'm just going to take a smaller brush, if I can find my smaller brush. I have like a teeny tiny brush here. I'm going to take some indigo, or if you even wanted to use a pen, you could. And I'm going to do the tiny little lines for the center here. Just going to go all the way around. Try and curve your lines just so they're not super, super straight. And then these kind of have, the centers have these little lines on them as well. And then little dots at the edge. We'll bring it all together. And there we go. And there is your poppy painting. I'm just gonna make it a little bit darker around here, just give it a little bit more shadow. Like that. And that's it. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below. I really hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in our next tutorial. Thank you all so much for watching. I really hope you liked it and I hope you learned something. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel and follow me on all my other platforms for tons more content. Have a wonderful day, guys. Bye.